And they're still just posting their legal shit from kiwi farms. What is wrong with you? You're so fucking stupid. I hate her so much. Well, like, the protective order is not here to hide doxing. That's not a real thing, doxing, for a court case. In a court case, you're supposed to make your identity known to the public. You're filing in a public forum. Stephen K. Bonnell II's motion for a protective order to coordinate deposition scheduling. Oh my God, there's been so many memes in the background. However, I have to read through these first to see what I can talk about or not, okay? Defendant Stephen K. Bonnell II, Bonnell, by and through undersigned counsel, respectively moves under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 26C for a protective order directing that the parties' respective depositions be coordinated and conducted during the same week to avoid unnecessary burden and expense. In support thereof, Bonnell states as follows. Let's check real quick. A party or any person from whom discovery is sought may move for protective order in the court where the action is pending or as an alternate. The motion must include certification to confer with other parties. Okay, all right, who cares? Introduction. Bonnell regrets to have to seek court intervention here, but plaintiff's recalcitrance has left him with no choice. On November 3rd, yesterday, 2025, plaintiff failed and refused to appear for her duly noticed deposition in Miami, Florida. Counselor for Bonnell spent significant time and resources preparing for the deposition, traveling across the country, and appearing for the deposition as noticed. Noticed meaning that we filed paperwork with the court noticing, saying, hey, there will be a deposition on November 3rd of the plaintiff, of Pxie. Now, the issue is that if you disagree with that noticing of that deposition, I'm sure there are a ton of other ways to do this, but for federal rules, you can quash that. Meaning you can file some paperwork with the court, I think, to say we're not going to show up for that. That's not happening. And then I think you can fight on that. I think is that the legal term is quashing it? Or there might be another thing you file, Kefka or somebody might know. But we noticed that the deposition was going to happen on the 3rd, and she just didn't show up. They didn't produce her. Neither plaintiff nor her counsel bothered to show up, and plaintiff further failed to seek a protective order to prevent her deposition from going forward. Despite plaintiff's refusal to appear for her own deposition, and despite that Bonnell has made every effort to accommodate plaintiff's availability and minimize travel costs, plaintiff ignored a valid deposition notice. Were her lawyers there? Nope. At the same time, plaintiff seeks to force Bonnell to appear for his deposition on November 6, 2025. Plaintiff cannot have it both ways. For the reasons stated herein, Bonnell respectively requests that the court issue a protective order directing that the depositions of plaintiff and Bonnell be conducted during the same week, preferably November 24th and 25th, respectively, in Miami, Florida. Indeed, plaintiff and her counsel previously represented that they are available for deposition on those dates. God, I hope that he publishes all the emails. There's like 20 fucking exhibits for this. Dude, the emails back and forth are so fucking crazy. Isn't notice just when you have a sheriff or constable deliver the summons to the party, or am I misunderstanding? I think notice can mean different things, but in this case, that's what noticing means. Factual background. On September 17th, 2025, attorney Joan S. Peters, on behalf of plaintiff, inquired about scheduling Bonnell's deposition in Miami between October 22nd, 2025 and November 19th, 2025. On September 22nd, 2025, the undersigned responded to Ms. Peters, writing that Bonnell was generally, oh my God, bro. Okay, good. These emails are so fucking crazy, okay? Holy shit. They're so crazy. They're so crazy, dude. The undersigned responded to Ms. Peters, writing that Bonnell was generally available during the first week of November and suggested that the parties schedule plaintiff's deposition for the same week. On September 26, 2025, Ms. Peters indicated that plaintiff would like to take Bonnell's deposition on November 5th or 6th, 2025, but claimed that plaintiff would not be available for deposition during the entire month of November because she was going to be out of state. In response, counsel for Bonnell agreed to hold November 6th for Bonnell's deposition in Miami. However, given plaintiff's counsel's representation that their client was not available for a deposition in Miami during the entire month of November, the counsel for Bonnell asked plaintiff's counsel to provide her availability in October. In response, on September 29th, 2025, plaintiff's counsel noticed Bonnell's deposition for November 6th, 2025, meaning so they said, we're going to depose you on November 6th, right? That's what we did for her on November 3rd. But now that she didn't show up for hers, this is why he's filing this protective order to say, oh, well, now I'm not going to show up for mine, right? She should have filed an order like this if she wanted to skip her deposition yesterday. Deposition for November 6, 2025, and despite Ms. Peters' previous representation that plaintiff would be out of state for the entire month of November, plaintiff's counsel offered a single date, November 21st, 2025, for plaintiff's deposition in Miami. The undersigned promptly advised Ms. Peters of a conflict on November 21st, 2025, due to a previously scheduled mediation in Los Angeles that day. I don't understand. How can you not show up for deposition? Are you summoned by the court? Nope, not really, not yet. This is just civil stuff. The undersigned again inquired about plaintiff's availability to sit for a deposition in Miami anytime in October. Exhibit A. Joan, Mr. Bonnell could have responded haphazardly to the discovery request you served and made an incomplete document production, just as plaintiff has done in response to the discovery demands that we served, see attached letter. Instead, Bonnell is complying with his discovery obligations and making a robust and timely document production. A link to download Bonnell's production will follow in a separate email. Any delay in the progress of this case is of your own doing. Finally, there was no threat in my last email. We will proceed accordingly. I don't remember what they were fighting about here, but we fought a lot about discovery. My discovery, flawless, beautiful, formatted beautifully, easily readable, just perfect. Her discovery, chaotic mess, incomplete, multiple items, still outstanding, months in, hasn't produced, lying about things. Just horrible, okay? So mine is just impeccable, okay? So her response is, Counsel. So 5 days later, we are in the process of reviewing your objections to plaintiff's September 5th document production, as set forth in your letter, dated September 12th, 2025. We will be submitting an amended response to interrogatories as well as a supplemental document production on September 19th. After receiving, please advise as to whether you would still like to have a meet and confer regarding any remaining objections. On a separate matter, we have been collecting, reviewing, and organizing documents responsive to your 12 requests for documents and your subpoena duces tecum or whatever on Lauren Hayden. This process has taken significantly longer than previously anticipated. We now anticipate being able to produce responsive, non-privileged documents on or before September 26th. This production, by the way, is also dog shit, horrible. Destiny, your counsel is putting together the productions, right? Not you personally. Kind of. I provide them the material and then they put together the actual production. But like, I mean, how well I provide material to them determines how well they can provide it to the other people. Like if I just sent them like a CSV with everything all mixed and fucked or whatever, as opposed to like more needed to read documents so they can parse. It seems to be, from my perception, the more work you're willing to do, the less work your lawyers have to do, and then the less you have to pay them. Like if you hand them a bunch of shit, then maybe they can make sense of it all, but you're just going to be paying them to sort through everything to do more work, and they might misunderstand something. So it's better to like do as much work as you can, homework to send to them. Yeah. Counsel. The discovery cutoff date, as per the court's scheduling orders, is December 16th. With that in mind, we would appreciate if you could provide 3 available dates for the defendant to be deposed in Miami between October 22nd and November 19th. Once we've agreed on a mutually available date, we will provide the notice of deposition. Thank you, Joan. Exhibit B, September 17th. Okay, so that's these emails. This is from Carlos on September 19th. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. Andrew, I'm following up on the deposition dates for your client as mentioned below. Please let us know, and thank you, Carlos. Andrew responds a few days later, September 22nd. Our client is generally available during the week of November 3rd. With the exception of November 4th, I have a court hearing in another matter. We will endeavor to make Mr. Bonnell available for deposition any day that week. While we are in Miami, let's also set plaintiff's deposition for the same week. Please let us know what works for you and her. Thank you. Right? So now for my lawyers to do the deposition of Pxie and to be present for my deposition, they have to fly in from California. So it's just like nice. And it just makes sense to schedule everything the same week, right? It just makes sense, right? You would think. You would think. We would like to depose your client in Miami on November 5th or 6th. Please confirm availability. Our client will be in Illinois, not Miami, in November. She is available to be deposed remotely or in person in Illinois on November 14th. Thanks. Okay. Venue is the geographical location that you choose to hear a case. So jurisdiction is, do they have the legal authority? Venue is the like geographical authority. I don't know if you'd say that. There's probably a more specific term that I'm fucking up, but I'm being sued on the federal level, okay? Federally, meaning in federal court, U.S. court, and the venue that they've chosen, we have availed ourselves to the federal court in the Southern District of Florida. This is where the court case is happening. This is where you've decided to sue me. What do you mean you can't be in Florida for your deposition? Why would we go to Illinois? The court case is happening here. It's your chosen venue and you're the plaintiff. Why? What do you mean you can't be in Florida for your deposition? Okay. Exhibit D. Andrew responds. Thank you, Joan. Let's hold November 6th for Mr. Bonnell's deposition in Miami. If your client is not available for deposition in Miami during the entire month of November, please provide us with her availability to sit for deposition in Miami in October. Exhibit E. Please take notice that on November, so right after that, I think they noticed, this might have been followed the court. They noticed, I think it was, they noticed our deposition or immediately, right? Now you're noticed for November 6th, okay? But now keep in mind, we don't even know, well, hold on, wait, when are we deposing Pxie? Excuse me, right? So they noticed the deposition from me for 2 days, right? Pursuant to Rule 30b1, Stephen Bonnell will be deposed on this date. Okay, so we're caught up in the exhibits. In response, on September 29th, 2025, Plaintiff's counsel noticed Bonnell's deposition for November 6th, 2025, and despite Ms. Peters' previous representation that plaintiff would be out of state for the entire month of November, Plaintiff's counsel offered a single date, November 21st, 2025, for plaintiff's deposition in Miami. The undersigned promptly advised Ms. Peters of a conflict on November 21st, 2025, due to a previously scheduled mediation in Los Angeles that day. The undersigned counsel again inquired about plaintiff's availability to sit for a deposition in Miami anytime in October. The next day, on September 30th, 2025, Ms. Peters offered additional availability for plaintiff's deposition in November, stating that plaintiff can also be available to be deposed in Miami on November 24th or 25th. This is Exhibit G. Okay, so on September 30th, she replies, plaintiff can also be available to be deposed in Miami on November 24th or 25th. Keep in mind, she said originally she wasn't available for the entire month of November, but okay. Plaintiff can also be available to be deposed in Miami on November 24th or 25th. Other than those 3 dates, November 21st, 24th, or 25th, plaintiff is not available in Miami. She can also be available for remote deposition on October 24th or November 7th or 14th. We're not doing remote depositions, okay? Fuck that. Cringe, all right? On October 2nd, 2025, in light of plaintiff's newly offered availability at the end of November, the undersigned suggested in an email to plaintiff's other attorney of record, Carlos A. Garcia Perez, that both plaintiff's and Bonnell's depositions be conducted in Miami on November 24th and 25th, respectively, to avoid having to make multiple trips to Miami, only a couple of weeks apart. On October 3rd, 2025, Mr. Garcia Perez rejected the proposal and insisted that Bonnell's deposition proceed on November 6th. Okay. H and I. On October 1st, Carlos Garcia said, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Feel free to unilaterally send the notice of deposition, which frankly is unneeded and a waste of time. Before you go that route, please give us a couple days to hopefully provide additional dates. October is difficult because of conflicts related to other matters, a personal matter, and our client's availability. Thank you, Carlos. So I think this is in response to Andrew saying that we're just going to notice Pxie's deposition for the 3rd, I guess, because they're like fighting us on dates. And then Andrew says on October 1st, good morning, Carlos. Waiting a couple more days is fine, but if we don't have proposed dates for plaintiff's in-person deposition in Miami in October, by this Friday, we will issue a deposition notice and select a date for plaintiff's deposition that works for Mr. Bonnell and his counsel. In addition to still needing to provide her availability for deposition, plaintiff and her counsel owe us a considerable amount of discovery, as raised in our prior correspondence. So just as a thing, Pxie said this, I think Lauren has said this, Jstlk said this, Kiwi Farms have said this, the commentary, everybody, all the retarded Kiwi Farms lawyers, the criminally fat guy, all these people have said, Destiny really doesn't want discovery. Discovery's going to destroy Destiny. It's going to be horrible. This is what everybody thought. I've produced all of my discovery. Pxie's the one that hasn't produced almost anything. And they are super far behind on all, they still haven't provided, we don't even have Abby's original text. That's supposedly the only evidence they're using for this case. We don't even have that unredacted, right? They've given us nothing. This is like a joke. This is like a meme. In addition to still needing to provide her availability for deposition, plaintiff and her counsel owe us a considerable amount of discovery, as raised in our prior correspondence. See email from Andy Brettler to Joanne Peters et al., dated September 27, 2025, an attached letter. Among other things, 1, plaintiff's document production is still incomplete. 2, plaintiff must amend her responses to the request for production. 3, Lauren Hayden's document production in response to the subpoena is long overdue. And 4, plaintiff's counsel has failed to provide current contact information for Abby MC. Please advise when we can expect compliance with these discovery obligations. Thank you, sincerely, Andrew. This is October 1st, so it was about a month and 3 days ago. Carlos writes, good morning, I hope you all are well. I think Carlos, I just want to be clear for opposing counsel. Carlos seems like a dude who's just doing his job. Okay, seems like a dude who's doing his job. The Joanne Peters person, the immigration attorney from Puerto Rico, she's the one with the huge fucking chip on her shoulder. I don't know why or what her issue is, or again, I think this is like the personal family friend or whatever. But Carlos seems like he's trying to do his job. You know, this is my impression. But good morning. I hope you all are well. I'm following up on the previous email. Regarding the deposition of plaintiff, she has made herself available to be deposed in Miami on November 21st, 24th, or 25th. Although you stated that you have a conflict with the November 21st date, you provided no reason for your unavailability on November 24th or 25th. Moreover, I respectfully remind you that you initially requested dates in November for plaintiff's deposition. She's also available on November 7th and 14th via Zoom. This is an unbelievable statement though, okay? Requiring plaintiff to travel to Florida in October and certain dates in November would pose an undue burden to her, given that she currently resides out of state. She moved? She sued me in the state of Florida. Is this no longer a convenient venue for you? How can you possibly say that it's inconvenient to appear in the venue that you've chosen to avail yourself to file a lawsuit against me? Excuse me? Her travel to Miami would entail 16 hours plus the time on deposition, causing her to miss important classes in school, among other issues. Oh. So she could go to school? Is she going to law school? It's got to be a master's, right? Because she's already done all of her undergraduate degrees. So what does she need the money for or the fundraiser for? If she has the money to go to law school, if they've spent easily over $150,000 so far on all of their lawyer shit, what the fuck was her fundraiser for? What are we doing here? What the fuck is her life? Her travel to Miami would entail 16 hours plus the time on deposition, causing her to miss important classes in school, among other issues. Accordingly, and for the reasons stated on my previous email, October will be very difficult to coordinate unless the deposition is taken by Zoom on October 24th. Also, November 7th and 14th may work by Zoom. As you are aware, if a dispute between the parties arises as to the location of a deposition, the court may prescribe the time, place, and terms of the deposition to protect a party or person from annoyance, embarrassment, oppression, or undue burden or expense. I am so curious if 26C, if this federal rule has ever been cited to say that somebody can't show up for a deposition in the state that they filed a case in. That would be crazy to me. Maybe it has, but I don't. That's wild to me. Wait, so she's in school in another state? Yeah, how fucking annoying. Isn't it cute that she can just frolic along and go live her life and do whatever stupid, retarded fucking shit she wants to do in her life while she fucking just sits here and wastes all my bullshit on whatever. It's fun. Nice. Good times. Similarly, Rule 30b-4 provides that the parties may stipulate, or the court may, on motion order, that a deposition be taken by telephone or other remote means. I sincerely hope that this issue can be resolved without the court's intervention. Finally, and on a separate matter, and for attorneys' eyes only, we recently obtained Abby's last known address. This didn't work, by the way. It was bullshit. Thank you, and if you need to further discuss these issues, we are available next week for a phone call with the exception of Tuesday. Andrew said, Carlos, regardless of where plaintiff now resides, she filed this lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida. Our client is entitled to take her deposition there in person. Her argument that it would be an undue burden to sit for a deposition in Miami because it would force her to miss classes just doesn't fly. Nevertheless, to accommodate her schedule, we will agree to take plaintiff's deposition in Miami on November 24th. However, we request that Mr. Bonnell's deposition be rescheduled to November 25th to minimize the undue financial burden on him and to limit the number of trips we'll need to make to Miami. Please confirm this is acceptable. Thank you. So I think this is reasonable, right? So we said like, okay, yeah, I'm available on the 6th. And they're like, sorry, we're busy the whole month. And they're like, actually, we can do maybe this. Okay, you want to do the 25th? Okay, fine. Then let's do Bonnell's on the 26th, okay? Not when Joanne is making the call, though. Absolutely not, okay? From Carlos. Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. Let's please not confuse the issues. Your client's deposition is set for November 6th, as agreed by the parties. The issue is the method and dates of our client's deposition. You now have 5 dates to pick when to depose our client. Please let us know when you're going to take your deposition. As to the hardship, it's the negative impact that it will cause on her studies, among other issues. I hope we can all appreciate and understand that being the case. Again, your client's deposition is set for November 6th. Please let us know when you're going to take our client's deposition. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day, Carlos. This is what I mean when I say every fucking thing is a fucking game fight to these people. Like, what the fuck? Really? This is the game we're going to play now? In the afternoon on the same day, the undersigned requested a telephonic meet and confer conference with plaintiff's counsel to discuss the apparent stalemate in scheduling both depositions during the week of November 3rd, 2025, or both during the week of November 24th to minimize unnecessary travel and reduce expenses. In response to the meet and confer request, on October 7th, Mr. Garcia Perez attempted to limit the scope of the conference to the scheduling of plaintiff's deposition. Mr. Garcia Perez once again insisted that Bonnell's deposition proceed on November 6th, writing, "We do not agree to change or cancel your client's deposition date." Over the course of several emails, counsel summarized their respective arguments regarding the deposition scheduling issue. So in response to the "let's not confuse the issues," Andrew says, Carlos, we aren't confusing the issues. We're trying to schedule Mr. Bonnell's deposition and plaintiff's deposition around the same time in Miami for practical reasons. In that regard, plaintiff can either appear for an in-person deposition during the week of November 3rd if Mr. Bonnell's deposition is going to take place on November 6th, or she can appear for deposition in Miami on November 24th if plaintiff wishes to take Mr. Bonnell's deposition there on November 25th. If your client is unwilling to sit for an in-person deposition in Miami, where she filed her lawsuit, anytime this month, we're not going to agree to produce Mr. Bonnell for an in-person deposition in Miami on November 6th, only to have to fly back there 2 weeks later to take plaintiff's deposition. Plaintiff's position is simply unreasonable. Happy to discuss by phone in advance of Mr. Bonnell seeking relief from the court. Please advise of your availability for a meet and confer call on Monday. Thank you. Sincerely, Andy B. Andrew writes, Carlos suggested a call tomorrow at 10 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. EDT. All those who are available to participate can use my dial-in. Use this number, no pin needed. Joanne says, can we speak at noon EDT tomorrow instead of 1? Andrew says, Carlos requested a call at 1 p.m. EDT tomorrow. Does 12 p.m. also work for him? I don't know if Joanne and Carlos are communicating all the time because sometimes they say two different things. Somebody in chat says, just for all clear at how insane the 16-hour claim is, I live in Ireland. The flight to the U.S. is between 7 and 9 hours. I can fly across the world faster than she can cross the states. My guess is she's driving. I don't know why. But Joanne says, sorry, I meant to say that noon works for Carlos. And then Andrew says, I know 1 p.m. works for him. That's time you requested. You asked me with a call at 12. I like to make sure Carlos is available. Yes, 1 p.m. works for Carlos. Okay, so the scheduling time. Okay. And then on October 6th, Andrew states again, great, happy to move the call to 9 a.m. PDT, 12 p.m. EDT tomorrow. In addition to discussing the deposition scheduling matter, we'll also use the call tomorrow as an opportunity to meet and confer with you regarding 1, plaintiff's incomplete document production, 2, plaintiff's all the things that they haven't provided us still. Carlos responds on October 7th, good morning, I hope you're doing well. The only issue on the deposition schedule is when and how you will take plaintiff's deposition. Your client deposition date was agreed by the parties and properly noticed. Respectively, only a court order or an agreement by the parties may cancel or move the deposition date. We do not agree to change or cancel your client's deposition date. Thank you, and we are looking forward to the conversation at 12. Carlos. Andrew responds, well, not so, Carlos. The main purpose of our call is to discuss deposition scheduling of both parties as laid out in my email at October 3rd at 3:23 p.m. We also intend to cover points 1 through 4 of my email from last night. Speak soon. Carlos writes, again, your client's deposition date is a non-issue unless it's agreed by the parties or there is a court order. We have never agreed to change your client's deposition date. Your self-serving email does not change that fact. Thank you. Andrew writes, we will discuss at 9 p.m. PDT, but as indicated previously, we are not going to agree to produce Mr. Bonnell for an in-person deposition in Miami on November 6th, only to have to fly back there 2 weeks later to take plaintiff's deposition. The depositions will be conducted close in time. Plaintiff can decide whether she wants the depositions to occur at the beginning of November or at the end. Now we get Joanne. Joanne's here. Andrew, we remind you, and then she throws the same thing back here. We remind you that this case is pending in the Southern District of Florida, not in California. We cannot agree to move the defendant's deposition from November 6th. The date was previously noticed and confirmed by all parties, and our team and the court reporter have been scheduled accordingly. We understand that you are based in California. However, defendant is represented by 2 Florida-admitted attorneys who can attend in person or defend the deposition. You may, of course, appear remotely if you prefer. In light of these facts and the existing discovery schedule, we intend to proceed on November 6th, as noticed. Regarding other additional matters to discuss, and time permitting, we include the following. 1, defendant's failure to provide amended answers or to RFAs. I don't remember what these even are. Defendant's failure to provide amended answers to ROGs. Requests for original, I don't know. Defendant's incomplete, deficient document production, and failure to provide any metadata or hash values from the time of collection. This is meaningless technobabble. Defendant's failure to provide any contact information for individuals identified in his initial disclosures. Pxie's closer friends with all of these people than me. Like, I don't have I don't even know. They're like mad that I didn't give them phone numbers. I don't know these people's fucking phone numbers. Like, who are you having trouble contacting? What? Defendant's failure to provide any responses received from multiple non-party subpoenas. I don't even know what the fuck this is in reference to, but okay. Joanne, we don't need your agreement to take Mr. Bonnell's deposition off calendar so that it can be scheduled close in time with plaintiff's deposition. If you are unwilling to cooperate, we will seek court intervention. Not only is it simply a matter of common courtesy and professionalism to avoid inconveniencing parties and counsel with unnecessary travel, it is a matter of common sense and practicality that plaintiff refuses to make herself available for deposition in Miami, where, as you point out, she filed her lawsuit at any time during the month of October, and then refuses to coordinate the parties' respective depositions in November is unreasonable. Regarding the additional matters you wish to discuss, please see our letter, correspondence date, dated September 22nd to September 30th. To date, we have not received responses from you or your co-counsel. At 9 a.m. PDT on October 7th, 2025, all counsel of record met and conferred telephonically on telephone to discuss the dispute over deposition scheduling. To further accommodate plaintiff and her counsel, the undersigned agreed to permit Bonnell's deposition to proceed first on November 24th, to be followed by plaintiff's deposition on November 25th. Plaintiff's counsel rejected that proposal, too, and maintained that Bonnell's deposition would proceed on November 6th, regardless of when plaintiff's deposition would be taken. Accordingly, following the parties' meet and confer conference call, Bonnell noticed plaintiff's deposition for November 3rd. So what we did after this is like, okay, you're not going to agree to anything? You're just going to fucking play games? Well, fine. We're just going to file with the court and say, well, we're going to notice your deposition for November 3rd. Hope you show up for it. Good luck. And they didn't. They skipped it. So that's why we're filing this now to cancel mine. Because fine, if you want to play games, we'll fucking play games. Whatever. They should have filed a motion to contest our noticing of her deposition. I don't know if they're just buried in paperwork or they've just given up on this case completely or they just are bored and they don't want to do it. But now she skipped her notice deposition and good luck. So then after they were like, we're not going to produce Pxie, we'll figure it out later. Your client is noticed, whatever. Then Andrew emailed her and said, okay, well, dear counsel, please see the attached notice of deposition. Thank you. Notice. Please take notice on November 3rd. You better show up. Good luck. So your people actually flew out for this? Yesterday, yes. Because we had to be ready just in case she actually did show up, but she didn't. On October 8th, 2025, Ms. Peters sent the undersigned an email demanding to know what defendant's position is about plaintiff's anticipated motion for protective order to prevent plaintiff's deposition from proceeding on November 3rd, 2025, as noticed. In her email, Ms. Peters falsely speculated that Bonnell's desire to have both parties' depositions occur close in time was for strategic reasons. She further falsely claimed that defendant insists on first deposing plaintiff. I don't think that was ever the case. All of these things that we'd agreed to was her first and then me. Now, when we noticed it, we noticed it before mine so that if she missed it, now we could do this notice because they want to play games on it. But I think it's ordinary. My litigators in chat could tell me. I think it's ordinary. Usually the plaintiff is the one that is deposed first, but whatever. I mean, this case is such a fucking joke anyway. Who cares? We did M last, so now it's N. Joanne writes, on October 8th. Counsel, pursuant to Local Rule 7.1A3, please advise what defendant's position is about plaintiff's anticipated motion for protective order pursuant to Rule 2016 in connection with the unilaterally noticed deposition of plaintiff on November 3rd, despite knowing her unavailability. So she's saying that we're going to motion to stop your deposition notice for Pxie. We're going to file this because you guys you noticed her deposition. We didn't even agree on it. She's saying, we're going to tell us what you're going to do. We're going to file a motion about this. This was on October 8th, by the way. It's like a month ago. Where was that filing? Did they not file it? To summarize plaintiff's position, we believe that your claim that you are unable to come to an agreement with us about a reasonable date of deposing of plaintiff is unreasonable and disingenuous and does not justify your unilateral noticing of the deposition, especially after plaintiff courteously agreed to depose defendant at a date of his choosing. That was before you told us that, oh, by the way, I can't be there. Cringe. This professional courtesy was clearly not returned because you wished to depose plaintiff prior to defendant's deposition for strategic reasons. We have no reason to believe otherwise. This is just a fucking lie. She's just lying about everything. It's just... Have you seen Jstlk coping about how he doesn't need to read the released hearing transcript? Yeah, of course. They don't want it to cover anything. This is like dead. They don't care about any of this now because now the more and more is going on. Like Pxie's full of shit. This is a disgusting human being, right? We have no reason to believe otherwise because we have offered numerous dates during the month of November, well before the discovery cutoff, for plaintiff to make herself available for deposition. This included November 7th, remote, November 14th, remote, November 21st, in person, November 21st, or 24th in person, and November 25th in person. It's difficult to conceive that no lawyer at your firm is available on any of these proposed dates, and you never explained your refusal to agree to any of these dates. And he did explain. He said, why would we have these depositions 3 weeks apart? We'll do those dates if you want, but let's do my client, the defendant, me, 2 or 3 days before Pxie's here. Like, we can just do that, right? You're the ones who played this game, this trick of getting us to agree to the 6th, or saying that we'll hold the 6th, and then saying, oh, we're not gonna be able for 3 weeks later. Fuck you. It's cringe. You, in fact, confirmed that you were available on November 24th and 25th, but insisted that defendant's already noticed deposition be moved to November 25th, clearly because defendant insists on first deposing plaintiff. These positions are unreasonable, and depositions may only be unilaterally noticed if the noticing attorney acted reasonably. Moreover, your position, the defendant's counsel, would be inconvenienced by having to travel to Miami twice if plaintiff's deposition were to be held on November 21st, 24th, or 25th, and defendant's on November 6th, has no validity. Your travel preferences are not good cause under Rule 26C to reschedule defendant's properly noticed and agreed deposition, or insist that plaintiff's deposition be in the same week, particularly where local counsel is available. I like how she's saying that my lawyer's traveling is not reason for me to be inconvenienced, but the plaintiff herself traveling to the venue that she filed the court case. I don't choose where to get sued. She chooses the venue. Hers would be inconvenient. That's hilarious. Destiny, what do you think their intention is here? Stop asking me this. Why do I keep having to repeat myself? Her goal is humiliation, reputation destruction, and wasting my money. That's the only thing. She's abusing the court system to play this game, to do. That's all she wants. This is very cleanly obvious at this point. Your travel preferences are not good cause under Rule 26C to reschedule or insist or particular counsel. Should plaintiff's deposition not be moved to November 21st, 24th, or 25th in person, or alternatively 7th or 14th at remote, as proposed by plaintiff will request in the same motion leave to attend her November 3rd notice deposition remotely, given defendant's position that it would be inconvenient for defense counsel to travel to Miami twice. Should you refuse to agree to such a remote deposition, please articulate your reasons, such as any asserted prejudice for your refusal. Since the parties have already attended one telephonic meet and confer on this dispute, we believe that any further meet and confer is likely futile. Imagine opposing counsel being like, we don't even want to talk on the phone, there's no point. Nevertheless, we are still reaching out in good faith in an attempt to resolve this dispute without the need of court intervention. In response to Ms. Peters' baseless assertions, the undersigned informed Ms. Peters that Bonnell had no objection to his deposition proceeding first, so long as both depositions could be scheduled close in time to avoid unnecessary travel and expense. The parties' respective depositions can either be conducted during the week of November 3rd or on the 24th or 25th in any order plaintiff wants. On October 10th, 2025, Ms. Peters indicated, how does anyone look at this and not see the game she's playing? Because nobody reads court filings. Nobody does all this shit, right? On October 10th, 2025, Ms. Peters indicated in an email to the undersigned counsel that the reason plaintiff will not agree to conduct Bonnell's deposition on November 24th, 25th is because she and her co-counsel are not both available on those dates. Emphasis added. Previously, plaintiff's counsel indicated otherwise. Okay, so in response to her email here saying we shouldn't even do another meet and confer because it doesn't matter anyway, Andrew writes on October 8th, Joanne, no objection to you deposing Mr. Bonnell first, even though it's customary for a plaintiff's deposition to be taken before defendants. I tried to make that clear during the call yesterday, but I was continually interrupted. Even the voice conversations are unhinged. The only issue is coordinating the scheduling of the two depositions so they occur during the same week. We'll even leave it up to you and your client. The parties' respective depositions can either be conducted during the week of November 3rd or November 24th and 25th in any order plaintiff wants. This whole court case has been her playing legal games the entire time. Whatever you want to do, we can do it. They're just playing games. It's so stupid. It's because they're so, I hate my life, dude. This is how much my life is wasted on that. How much money and opportunity cost. But I mean, that was her goal, I guess, and it's epic, so. You offer the defendant can depose plaintiff remotely is not acceptable. Plaintiff filed a federal lawsuit in Miami, Florida. Defendant is entitled to take her deposition there. Quote, the general rule is that a plaintiff who brings a suit in a particular form may not avoid appearing for examination in that form, end quote. Quote, in accordance with this general rule, a plaintiff must make herself available for deposition in the judicial district in which she filed suit, end quote. We hope plaintiff will reconsider her position. Thank you, sincerely, Andy B. Joan Peters, thank you for your response. As we informed you prior to your noticing plaintiff's deposition for November 3rd, she is not available in Miami or remote on that date and will not be appearing. She is available on November 21st, 24th, and 25th in Miami. We plan on proceeding with the agreed and noticed deposition of defendant on November 6th. And while we understand you might be inconvenienced by having to travel to Miami twice, the fact remains that this matter is pending in Miami. Defendant resides in Miami, and defendant is a local counsel in Miami. You have not presented any good cause reason to change an agreed deposition date or to insist that both depositions take place during the same week. Carlos and I are not both available on the 24th and 25th, and thus we cannot agree to moving defendant's deposition to one of those days. Do you see how much of a stupid game this plays? How fucking stupid this is? It's so cringe. Hey, do you want to go out to eat? For pizza on Friday? And you're like, yeah. You're like, okay, cool. I'm not available Friday. I can either go eat on Wednesday or Thursday. When do you think I should go eat? It's like, oh, I thought we were eating together. I guess I'm available on Wednesday or Thursday, so we can go there. No. Excuse me. You said that you were going to go Friday. I want to know when I can go on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. It's like, well, I mean, I only thought we were going to go out to eat together. Why would I go eat alone? I'm not going to go Friday on my... No, that's not what this conversation is about. You said Friday, you're going Friday, and we're deciding if I'm going to go on Wednesday. It's like, well, this is to see real, it's so cringe. Yeah, this guy in chat, I can't believe I'm seeing a lawyer do no takesies, backsies. It's unironically, it's that. No takesies, backsies. You said the 6. We agreed. No, it's like, oh my God. Seriously? Is this for real? We're really doing this? After hearing nothing from plaintiff's counsel for several weeks, on October 27th, 2025, Ms. Peters emailed the undersigned reiterating her objection to plaintiff's deposition proceeding as noticed on November 3rd. So I guess she just stopped responding. She didn't respond to Andrew. So this was October 8th was the email. Oh, and then she wrote on October 10th. Oh, and then Andrew responded, plaintiff's position is unreasonable. We will leave it up to the court to decide. Destiny, why don't you want to do remote? Because I have a right to take her deposition in person. Why would I accommodate her schedule? She filed her suit against me in the Southern District of Florida in federal court. So I'm going to take her deposition here in Florida. I'm not going to make accommodations for her while she frolics off to go do law school in another state across the country while she's just getting to do whatever the fuck she wants and to dilly-dally around in her life while she tries to destroy mine. No, this is the venue that you sued me in. So this is the venue where we're going to physically sit in person and have our depositions done in. And I don't want to risk, why would you risk I don't know if there are lawyers in here that have ever done like remote depositions where like, what if we ask a hard question and her thing like disconnects, or there's like, she's getting coached to the background. Like, no, I'm not going to do why would we do a remote deposition? So on October 10th, Andy said, plaintiff's position is reasonable. We will leave it up to the court to decide. Destiny, is it a problem for your California lawyers to attend remote? No, I don't want my lawyers to attend remote. I want to be there in person, in real life, to do a real life big boy deposition. This is court. It's not a Zoom call. It's not a Twitch stream. It's not a Discord meet. You're suing me. We're going to sit down in the same fucking room and we're going to do a deposition like you do in court. That's what we're doing, okay? It's not a game. 20 days later, or not 20 days later, I'm sorry, 17 days later, 2.5 weeks later, Counsel, on October 7th, we held a meet and confer regarding plaintiff's deposition date. During and prior to that meet and confer, we informed you the plaintiff was unavailable to depose Miami in person during the week of November 3rd. We offered in-person dates November 21st, 24th, 25th, as well as several earlier remote deposition dates immediately following our meet and confer. And despite knowing plaintiff's unavailability, you sent a notice of deposition for plaintiff on November 3rd. Based King, by the way, based and King. On October 8th, we again informed you that plaintiff was unavailable on November 3rd and would not be appearing. On October 10th, defendant's counsel stated by email that we will leave it up to the court to decide. The notice deposition date of November 3rd remains a date on which plaintiff previously advised she's unavailable. Plaintiff continues to stand ready to appear on any of the 3 alternative dates previously provided. Please promptly confirm one of these available dates so that we can plan accordingly and reserve the date. Otherwise, we will proceed to open our calendars to other matters for those dates. Andrew, same day, 4 minutes later. Damn. Assuming these are the same time zones. Joanne, we intend to proceed with plaintiff's deposition on November 3rd, as noticed, unless you file a motion for a protective order. If you'd like to agree, as we've been urging for quite some time, to schedule both plaintiff and Mr. Bonnell's deposition during the last week of November, we remain amenable to doing so. The undersigned responded to Ms. Peters indicating the intent to proceed with plaintiff's deposition as noticed on November 3rd, unless plaintiff sought a protective order from the court, or agreed to coordinate the parties' deposition scheduling, as the undersigned had repeatedly offered. Later that day, and notwithstanding plaintiff's counsel's prior inquiry into Bonnell's position with respect to plaintiff's contemplated motion for a protective order, plaintiff's counsel replied, "We will not waste the court's time or plaintiff's resources by filing a motion for a protective order. Destiny, it's not without precedent to do things over Zoom. What's your reasoning besides it requires big boy pants?" I want to have a deposition in person. There's a different energy to speaking to somebody in person. I want to make sure that she is having a conversation with my counsel, that she's not being coached, there's no weird stuff going on in the background, that she can't push the disconnect button on the call, that there's not any, weird shenaniganery going on, that it's a deposition with a one-on-one, having a conversation, taking notes, writing down everything, having it recorded by the court reporter as a standard deposition is done. The undersigned responded indicating that if plaintiff failed to appear for her notice deposition on November 3rd, that Bonnell would ask the court reporter to record a certificate of non-appearance for the record and proceed according before this court. Oh, okay, this was Joanne Peters. Andrew says, listen, we've noticed your depo for November 3rd, okay? Show up or file a protective order and ask the court to intervene, because now, if we're going to play games, then we'll play games, fine. Andrew, and then Joanne says, Andrew, we will not waste the court's time or plaintiff's resources by filing motion for protective order due to your unilaterally scheduled notice of deposition. You were fully advised prior to sending your notice of deposition that plaintiff is not available to depose on November 3rd, and you have since been fully advised that plaintiff will not be appearing on November 3rd. Unilateral scheduling of depositions, particularly where the despondent previously notified her unavailability and provided alternative dates, are frowned upon by this court. Andy says, Joanne, if plaintiff fails to appear for her deposition, fails to appear for her deposition on November 3rd, we will ask the court reporter to record a notice of non-appearance and proceed accordingly. Notwithstanding the foregoing correspondence and the fact that plaintiff still had not filed a motion seeking a protective order, on October 29th, 2025, plaintiff's counsel sent an email inquiring about the attendees at Bonnell's deposition. Reference is made to your email of October 29th, 2025, in which you inquired about the attendees at Mr. Bonnell's deposition. Please be aware that unless plaintiff appears for her deposition as noticed on November 3rd, we will not be producing Mr. Bonnell for deposition on November 6th. Thank you. The undersigned responded to plaintiff's counsel by email on October 30th, reiterating that unless plaintiff appeared for her notice deposition on November 3rd, Bonnell will not be appearing for deposition on November 6th. Okay. On November 3rd, 2025, the undersigned appeared in Miami, Florida for plaintiff's notice deposition at 10 a.m. EST. The undersigned was prepared to take plaintiff's deposition, but neither she nor any of her counsel of record appeared pursuant to the notice. The undersigned waited until 10:30 a.m. before concluding. At no time prior to the commencement of plaintiff's notice deposition did she file a motion seeking a protective order. Indeed, plaintiff's counsel previously indicated that they would not waste time or resources doing so. Based King. A protective order coordinating the parties' depositions is warranted. Pursuant to Rule 26C, a party or any person from whom discovery is sought may move for protective order, specifying terms, including time and place of a deposition. The court has the inherent authority to issue an order specifying the time, place, and sequence of depositions to protect a party from undue burden or expense. Moreover, the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure authorize the court to compel a party's deposition where that party fails to coordinate in scheduling. Indeed, courts here routinely exercise their discretion to coordinate depositions occurring in the same location or involving overlapping issues. Federal Rules of Expression are very broad and comprehensive. These are just law things. There's also a strong presumption that a plaintiff must sit for deposition in the forum where she chose to file suit. Plaintiffs are required to make, again, and this is what he quoted Joan in emails. Critically, when plaintiff refused to reschedule the depositions, plaintiff and her counsel had two choices. One, appear for her notice deposition, or two, seek a protective order. Plaintiff did neither. Citations. A party's failure to appear for her duly noticed deposition without obtaining, let alone seeking, a protective order was not substantially justified. Under the circumstances, reasonable people could not defer as to the need to at least seek a protective order, particularly when the deposition notices were received several weeks in advance. Here, both plaintiff and her counsel of record failed to appear for her deposition as noticed on November 3rd, 2025. Further, plaintiff failed to seek a protective order at any time prior to the commencement of the scheduled deposition. Counsel for Bunnell spent significant time and resources preparing for the deposition, traveling across the country, scheduling a court reporter. Despite plaintiff's recalcitrance, she now seeks to force Bunnell to appear for his own deposition on November 6th. In the interest of fairness, judicial economy, and the convenience of all parties and their counsel, the court should issue a protective order directing that the deposition of plaintiff and defendant be conducted during the same week, preferably November 24th and 25th, 2025, respectively, in Miami, Florida. Indeed, plaintiff has already represented that she is available for deposition on those dates. Bunnell is entitled to reasonable attorney's fees and costs. Pursuant to Rules 26C and 37A4 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, this court has discretion to impose sanctions. I think we're starting to ask for this more in motions now. In the form of attorney's fees and costs associated with bringing the instant motion against plaintiff and or her counsel for 1, their failure to coordinate scheduling of the deposition of this case, and 2, their failure to appear for plaintiff's duly noticed deposition on November 3rd, 2025. The court should issue an award of sanctions accordingly. The 11th Circuit has explained that Rule 37 sanctions are intended to prevent unfair prejudice to the litigants and ensure the integrity of the discovery process. Sanctions are warranted here. Plaintiff's conduct has forced Bunnell to incur significant legal fees and costs in preparing for, traveling to, and appearing for plaintiff's deposition. Bunnell has incurred attorney's fees and costs in excess of $10,875 in connection with plaintiff's failure to appear for deposition and having to file the instant motion and supporting documents. Bunnell respectfully requests that the court issue sanctions against plaintiff for her misuse of the discovery process. Conclusion. For the foregoing reasons, Bunnell respectfully requests that the court issue a protective order directing that the depositions of plaintiff and defendant be conducted during the same week, preferably November 24th and 25th, respectively, in Miami, Florida. Bunnell further respectfully requests that the court award Bunnell his reasonable attorney's fees and costs incurred in bringing the instant motion. Was this what the vague posting was about, or is there more coming? This was not what it was about. There is more coming, 1, and there's another vague post, more coming, 2. There's a lot of memes in the pipeline right now. All of it very, very, very bad for the two main parties involved on the other side of this. Plaintiff's reply to docket item 153. Response in opposition to motion, response in opposition to motion to dismiss, and motion to submit auto files conventionally. What the fuck is this about? Jane Doe. Plaintiff Jane Doe, conventionally submit audio files conventionally. Motion. Okay. Defendant's opposition contends that 1, the original video links cited in plaintiff's opposition to motion to dismiss were not authenticated, and thus neither can the audio files be authenticated, and the court's order does not require retroactive refiling. Motion to dismiss did not raise any objection. There are 2 video links that were included in the... it's just her reposting. Is this like the food shops links? Okay. Is that all this is? What are they even hoping to prove here? Nor does plaintiff's motion seek to retroactively refile exhibits. Far from attempting to reopen or refile prior submissions, plaintiff is attempting to preserve the integrity of her opposition by submitting the same content in an accessible format. Plaintiff's motion does not seek to supplement the record or introduce new evidence. It simply requests leave to conventionally submit 2 short audio clips that were already cited in her opposition to the motion to dismiss. Why didn't you submit them then? Indeed, if the video links had not been deliberately privatized by one of defendant's followers solely in order to thwart the plaintiff and prevent the court's access, it would not be necessary to submit them conventionally. Why are you just linking things to the court? You can't just send YouTube links and say, Judge, go check out this video. What are you doing? What the fuck is it? Why wouldn't you have your own backup? Why wouldn't you create stuff of this? What if the other person got banned? Would you just lose your court case? The judge already warned them about that? Yeah. Jesus Christ. Moreover, submitting the audio files conventionally complies with the court's instruction that links should be included as exhibits rather than URLs. Plaintiff's motion is procedural and corrective, not substantive. Wait a second. Moreover, submitting the audio files conventionally complies with the court's instruction that links should be included as exhibits rather than URLs. Wait, am I misunderstanding what the judge said? I thought the judge wasn't saying that you need to submit links as exhibits rather than URLs. I thought the judge was saying you need to submit the files themselves. You can't link me websites. See, ECF 143, page 15. It is further ordered that as to any links to images or online documents, and on an ongoing forward basis, the references linked to must be included as exhibits to filings. Oh my God, she's so stupid. Joan, the judge isn't telling you that you have to submit a separate exhibit with a link. He's telling you that you need to submit the material linked as an exhibit. Are you not a practicing attorney or an immigration attorney law? Do you not file paperwork? What do you even do for work? Oh my God. No shot did she, I'm sorry, am I misunderstanding this? Well, hold on, I can just check. Oh my God, bro, what are you doing? No, this is not what the judge was saying. And they're still just posting their legal shit from Kiwi Farms. What is wrong with you? You're so fucking stupid. I hate her so much. Check the exhibit attached. What, subsequently, I reposted copies of excerpts of the same videos on the Kiwi Farm social media platform. You located? You went and looked for these? That's not true. You're just getting fed all of this from Kiwi Farms itself. I like how they're acting like I went out of my way and managed to scrounge this up on the internet. This is what Pxie is submitting to the court. First of all, that YouTube large site still reports Destiny's channels as demonetized. If this is a prank, it's starting to cost him actual money now. Remember, this is all Pxie's goal is. Code Cave, remember, that's somebody else that they've copied. Their expert witness, Jesus Pena, who lied about doing his own expert witness report, copy-pasted Code Cave's analysis of the links to prove that they were fake. Code Cave, he's claiming all these editable file names in a random spreadsheet he made are accurate timestamps, in which case some other autist should double-check these dates in case he has other victims. Huh, it's almost like when everybody's double-checking everything, I haven't made anything up. Kind of crazy, huh? It probably goes without saying, but this spreadsheet is 100% Destiny's handiwork. I doubt his legal team had any hand in it, other than suggestions on how best to present it. He actually worked on building these spreadsheets from December 8th through the 10th while he was lurking in Food Shop's Discord, and he kind of gave away how he built some of the exhibits he included in his recent motion. According to him, he had to marry up records from Discord to records he had from Redact to reconstruct a continuous chat timeline. I don't think he ever mentioned Redact at all in his legal filings. In my opinion, that he had to reconstruct anything at all would point to the evidence being not totally reliable, if only due to potential mistakes on his part. Then prove it! Demonstrate. You can't just say every single thing I do is not reliable. Then prove it. Demonstrate a single false submission, a single thing that's inconsistent with any other evidence or any other part of the record. Anything at all. A single thing. I don't know why I'm screaming at this. They're playing, these are all games, right? Here are clips from Food Shop stream dated September 8th. I'll include times since the original video on YouTube. Here, they always misgender her because they're transphobic as fuck, but great. Here she talks about using ChatGPT to format data. Oh, no, I'm sorry, wait. They were talking about me in this video. They do misgender her, but this is them talking about me. Here he talks about using ChatGPT to format data into a spreadsheet a certain way. Of course, he makes a child porn joke. Here he talks more about what files he's working with. He mentions Discord log exporter, actually Discord chat exporter, and Redact. He says he's trying to, for a nice presentation, recreate a singular log file. Huh? Why does he have to do this? Was the original log file tampered with in some way? The reason why I have to do this is because typically the logs are only exporting one side. I don't even know why I'm responding to this. I think Jstlk's retard, esports Batman, and all these dipshits say the same thing. Oh, I thought Destiny said he exported from Discord. When you request a copy of your own data from Discord, they only send you your side of the conversation. It doesn't include the other person's side. So I can use Discord chat exporter to export their side, and I have Discord log exporter that shows my side, but they're using different timestamps. So I have to merge these together for a single readable chat log, and then that's what I give as my discovery production. If they don't like it, then you can either show me what's wrong with it or kick rocks. The fuck? You're not submitting any evidence for anything. Choice quotes from Destiny. You don't understand. Information is lost. Information is lost. There's no original file. I'm trying to restrict file. When I say information is lost, what I'm saying is if you're creating, you can't create Unix time codes from from ordinary human time if you're not taking into account the daylight savings time shit. You can't, going backwards like that doesn't really make sense because you could, and that was an issue. I don't know if Discord was doing that or if Redact was doing that, but it's annoying because I realized that just using Unix timecodes, it wasn't lining up because one of them wasn't correctly recording the daylight savings time. But they're trying to act like I'm adding information or I'm inventing logs here or I'm inventing, messages. But it's like, oh, okay, well, if you think I'm doing that, then demonstrate that somehow. Show me. But great. Okay, cool. I can't believe that she is so stupid. I can't believe she really is so stupid. Joan doesn't know how to read or plaintiff's motion not seek. Okay. Moreover, submitting the audio files conventionally complies with the court's instructions that links should be included as exhibits rather than URLs. Do you understand what I say? Do you understand what I'm saying here when I'm saying she's misunderstanding what the judge is saying? The judge was saying here, guys, if you're going to submit evidence or whatever, then give me a USB drive, or give me, to be honest, it's weirdly phrased. Shut the fuck up, you retarded fuck. I don't care if you're in grade school, shut the fuck up. This conversation is not for you. It's very obvious what the judge is saying here. It is further ordered that as to any links to images or online documents, and on a going forward basis, the references linked to must be included as exhibits to filings. The references linked to must be included as exhibits to filings. For security reasons, the court will not open random links to Imager or Google Drive. Should a party believe any exhibit should be sealed, they may file a motion seeking leave of court to file it under seal, as with any other filing or exhibit. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, never mind. I take back my mean comments about Joan. I think she is putting links here, but I think she did send in a USB drive, I think. I personally reviewed the audio files and confirmed that they accurately reproduced the same content I observed in the original 2 videos and reposted copies. I then uploaded the audio files onto a USB drive. I'm assuming she sent that to the court in conjunction with this, I think. What the fuck is this even for? What are they even fighting about this? Oh, this is just their response to our motion to dismiss by trying to impeach the evidence that I'm providing. But didn't the judge still say there shouldn't be actual links in the filings? Yeah, well, he said they're not going to click any, but it's probably not necessarily bad for her to include links as long as she also includes stuff on a USB drive. Maybe? I don't know if she should include the links or not. Or maybe they should just be in a footnote, maybe? I don't know. On or about October 15th, 2025, I provided the link to the Kiwi Farms post by Latrell Spreewall to our firm's IT engineer, Mr. Benjamin Wass, for the purpose of creating an audio-only version suitable for filing with the court. Mr. Wass downloaded the clips directly from the Kiwi Farms link and then used an online converter to convert the MP4 to MP3 files and sent the 2 audio files to me. Destiny, I think she's still in the process of trying to send it to court because there should be a docket entry, just like there is one when you send them a USB drive. Okay, maybe she hasn't yet then, I guess. I don't know what the fuck this person's doing. Well, there must be, right? There has to be a docket entry, I guess, if they're submitting. So then she hasn't submitted USB drives yet? She just like shot him some more links and said, yo, check this out. And then the USB drives are on the way. You can't submit video, or why are they converting MP4 to MP3? I have no idea. They could probably submit a video file. I don't know why. I don't know anything. This person is just, all these people are crazy. Okay. 164 docket items, 9 months into this case. Based. Had you read the 162 on stream? I don't even know. Did we? What was this even about? Oh, they filed something that was late to try to do like a more protective order. Oh shit, wait. This was, she wants a public gag order on the case. And they filed for one a long time ago, but never got approved. Plaintiff's motion seeks a narrowly tailored protective order to curb the ongoing harassment, doxing, and intimidation that threatens the integrity of these proceedings and is causing further harm to plaintiff. She still has her GoFundMe, by the way. She still has that literally pinned on her fucking Twitter, but good one, okay. In support of the motion, plaintiff submitted evidence to defendant's online harassment and doxing of plaintiff, plaintiff's witnesses and potential witnesses, and plaintiff's counsel. Plaintiff's counsel? I'm doxing her counsel now? Defendant has recently engaged in additional online conduct that underscores the necessity of the requested protective order. Specifically, on October 29, 2025, defendant published on the social media platform X a post identifying plaintiff's spouse by her legal name. So the fuck what? Protective orders are not here to protect your name. Protective orders exist to protect your identity, to shield your identity from the public. You've already made public. This is why I'm saying the whole protective order, all of this is just a fucking game. Like, imagine if Pxie were to join a company called Tankies for the Destruction of the Democratic Party in the USA, but she joins under her real name. And imagine I tweet out and I'm like, oh my God, wow, look at this. Pxie's joined Tankies for America, good job. And now they're like, oh, well, we're filing a lawsuit or we're filing another protective order. You just linked to her real name. It's like, this is so stupid. Well, like, the protective order is not here to hide doxing. That's not a real thing, doxing, for a court case. In a court case, you're supposed to make your identity known to the public. You're filing in a public forum. accompanied by a screenshot from an Instagram post depicting plaintiff and her spouse. It's a public Instagram post, along with a private chat thread between defendant and plaintiff from October 2023. Defendant only included the message from plaintiff and omitted his own responses. See Exhibit A attached here too. The spouse's social media account is not in her legal name, but instead under a pseudonym. Defendant nevertheless deliberately identified her. The spouse's there's her spouse. She's not part of this court case. Thereby linking plaintiff's pseudonym in this litigation to her spouse's true identity and effectively disclosing identifying information that this court's protective order was designed to safeguard. No, with regards to court filings, this is about seals. You never got the gag order that you wanted. That's not true. The defendant then falsely and maliciously accused plaintiff of having committed a green card marriage fraud. She has, by the way, and she did, by the way. That's why if you check any of Virginia's social media today, she has nothing to do with Pxie. She hasn't talked with her for a year. And apparently Pxie doesn't even live in fucking Florida anymore. They 100%, and for other reasons that I can't say publicly, but they 100% committed a green card fraud marriage. I don't even know if Pxie's fucking bisexual. She just fucking married her friend because she wanted her to stay in the U.S. She wanted to get her a green card, by the way. If you get legal fees, would you be able to collect from her spouse? Maybe, so that's kind of cool. But we'll see. The defendant then followed Exhibit A, the post has been viewed 498,000 times. And another reply to defendant's post has posted plaintiff's legal name and other identifying information. It's not me posting it. What do you want me to do? All of this shit is public information that you have posted on your social media platforms. Immediately upon being made aware of defendant's post on October 29th, did you hire a private investigator or something? No. Maybe I'll be able to. In several months, I'll be able to tell you. That would be the third extra super meme thing coming down the pipeline, okay? We'll see. Dr. Joan Peters. Ms. Peters' email includes a signature of the post and asks counsel to instruct their client to immediately remove the post. Mr. Brettler's response asserts that the post did not violate protective order because it only pertains to documents filed with the court and not to social media posts. Moreover, Ms. Brettler contends the court has not yet ruled on plaintiff's pending motion. There is no restriction on a defendant's public commentary. Furthermore, the protective order requires that under no circumstances shall any person disclose plaintiff's name to the media without consent of plaintiff's counsel. Defendant's deliberate disclosure of the spouse's legal identity, a family member whose identity is necessarily related to plaintiff, constitutes an intentional breach of the order's confidentiality mandate and a continuation of the very harassment plaintiff sought to prevent through the pending motion. Remember, plaintiff still has her literal thing pinned saying that she's suing me for revenge porn. Like, it's publicly on her fucking Twitter, right? Like, she's not trying to use a protective order in the spirit of the protective order. She's just trying to use it to think she can trip me up on if I make a boo-boo or a mistake. It's so stupid. It's so cringe. The new posting exemplifies defendant's ongoing campaign to publicly expose and disparage plaintiff and those associated with her, further justifying the need for the broader protective measures requested in the pending motion. Oh, like what you're doing with this whole lawsuit that you've even stated publicly. This incident mirrors the type of conduct that the motion seeks to prevent and further demonstrates the ongoing risk of prejudice to the integrity of these proceedings and the plaintiff's safety and well-being. Oh my God. Plaintiff respectfully requests that the court take note of... Okay, there's that. Filed under seal. Maybe this is just my tweet, I guess. Okay. And then the last thing was just Andrew's response to that. And then we're done, okay? On October 30th, 2025, Plaintiff Jane Doe filed an untimely notice of expiration, an unauthorized cert reply brief styled supplemental evidence in further support of plaintiff's pending motion for a gag order against defendant Stephen K. Bonnell. The second, plaintiff filed her motion for a gag order nearly 5 months ago, and her transparent attempt to use Local Rule 7.1 as a pretext for filing her unauthorized cert reply brief should not be permitted. The court should strike plaintiff's pleadings in their entirety. First, Local Rule 7.1 imposed a burden on a moving party to file within 14 days of the 90-day expiration date, a notification of 90 days expiring. Plaintiff filed her motion seeking a gag order against Bonnell on June 2nd. Bonnell filed his opposition on June 16th. Plaintiff filed her reply on June 23rd. The court did not schedule a hearing on the motion. Accordingly, the 90-day period expired on September 21st, 40 days ago. Plaintiff is just now getting around to complying with the court's local rule. Second, Local Rule 7.1 requires the noticing party to provide specific information pertaining to the fully briefed motion, including the title and docket number of any and all responses or opposing memoranda. In her so-called notice, plaintiff failed to provide the prerequisite information, blah, blah, blah. Substantively, plaintiff seeks to draw on benefit from public assistance while pursuing her lawsuit anonymously and seeking to muzzle Bonnell at the same time. Indeed, while seeking to silence Bonnell with a gag order, plaintiff continues to promote and associate herself and her online persona Pxie with her allegations against Bonnell while also seeking to help or to keep her legal name confidential. Plaintiff has repeatedly attacked and maligned Bonnell online, including through her Substack posts, social media updates, pleas for additional witnesses to come forward, and solicitations for donations to her legal fund, all of which have been viewed collectively more than 1.5 million times. In fact, this court has already noted plaintiff's substantial public commentary about the case, Plaintiff cannot have it both ways. Moreover, plaintiff's counsel's representation regarding counsel's meet for efforts is grossly misleading and inaccurate, attached as Exhibit A to the declaration of Andy B. Brettler, dated October 31st, 2025, and filed concurrently here within, is a true and correct, partially redacted copy of the letter, dated October 29th, 2025, that Bonnell's counsel sent to plaintiff's counsel in response to plaintiff's false contention that Bonnell violated protective order. Throughout her notice and her attorney's subpoena declaration, plaintiff misstates and omits key portions. Okay. His exhibit was, this was the response. Dear Joan and Carlos, we are writing in response to Joan's emails from 7:56 a.m., 10:21 a.m., and 1:13 p.m. Oh, she started spamming emails. Oh my God. PDT Today, in which she baselessly accused Mr. Bonnell of violating the protective order dated February 20th, 2025 by posting the name of plaintiff's spouse on social media and repeatedly demanded that Mr. Bonnell immediately delete his post and publicly apologize to plaintiff. He is not obligated to do so. Nothing in Mr. Bonnell's social media post violates the terms of the protective order. The protective order governs documents filed with the court. Conveniently, Joan omitted this qualifier in the portion of the order she quoted in her first email this morning. The protective order does not restrict public commentary, nor does it impose any general confidentiality obligations on the parties. Plaintiff's motion seeking to impose a gag order on Mr. Bonnell has not been granted. Indeed, in plaintiff's motion seeking to hold Mr. Bonnell in contempt for discussing the June 3rd, 2025 hearing on social media, the transcript of which was recently unsealed, plaintiff advanced a similarly frivolous argument to the one she asserts here, and that she accused Mr. Bonnell of violating a then and still non-existent court order. Mr. Bonnell opposed that motion precisely on those grounds, among others. Further, notwithstanding that the protective order did not govern Mr. Bonnell's privileged speech, he did not publish any new, previously undisclosed, or confidential information on social media or anywhere else. Mr. Bonnell merely reposted what blank previously published on her own social media pages. See this? Blank's social media account remains active and accessible and included photographs of both her and plaintiff. In fact, the post Joan embedded in her email from early this morning was taken from her Instagram page. Prior to Joan sending her email, Blank had tagged plaintiff in that post. Now she has since removed the tag, likely because plaintiff in a public post does not, because tagging plaintiff in a public post does not fit the narrative plaintiff is putting forward here. Finally, the contention that Mr. Bonnell defamed plaintiff in his post by suggesting that she engaged in green card marriage fraud is unfounded. Plaintiff admitted in correspondence she produced to this case that she was marrying blank because she wanted blank to stay in the United States. Plaintiff further expressed her concern about the affidavits and interviews that she would need to provide to establish a bona fide marriage. Given that truth is a complete defense to a claim for defamation, nothing in Mr. Bonnell's post rises to the level of an actionable claim. In any event, if plaintiff were to assert such a claim, it would be subject to Florida's anti-SLAPP law. Plaintiff would be exposed to significant liability, including but not limited to paying Mr. Bonnell's legal fees in connection with having to defend against any such claim. If it's proven that she was committing green card marriage / fraud, does it help get the case dismissed at all? Nope. It doesn't really have anything to do with our case, which is why it's also stupid for her to be bringing it up. Do your lawyers even have to respond to this shit? It's not like the judge is going to rule on defamation. Well, I mean, you kind of want to reply because you don't want to leave it replyless and then, yeah. Brettler set the mail on the 29th and on the 30th, plaintiff still filed the thing. Sure. That's just what they do. They do be filing. Oh, and then as a final kind of meme thing, I noticed this last night. The crazy, weird, random shit. These people are crazy, bro. I don't know if it's like Lauren De Laguna is just like puppeteering all of these people in the background. Pxie's wife is also suing her last place of employment for sexual harassment. I think she filed a suit against them, was it 6 months ago or 1 year and 6 months ago? She's also suing her. What? Jesus Christ, bro. You're being subtweeted via the lawsuit. Yep, but that's their goal, literally. If she loses, will she have to pay your lawyer expenses? Probably not. But it depends on how much we can push for. What did we read last? Jesus fucking Christ, bro. My God. Oh, okay. We had Andy B come through with the big memes here. Okay, paperless order granting 147. Motion for leave to file amendment to subpoena declaration and opposition motion to dismiss. Upon review of the opposed motion, the court finds good cause to authorize the amendment to allow the witness to correct alleged errors in the record, which is always in the interest of justice, notwithstanding any opposition based on delay or procedural default. Oh, so this was just allowing the Jesus Pena guy to amend his expert analysis where he deletes the last 2 paragraphs because he says, oh, wait, I fucked up because I'm actually have no idea what I'm talking about, but okay. Moreover, the motion to dismiss has not been adjudicated and thus defendant suffers no prejudice from the requested amendment to the extent defendant wishes to supplement his reply to address what are perceived changes in the witness's substantive testimony. Defendant is granted leave to do so. A 5-page surreply may be filed by November 15th, 2025. That may also attach any supplemental materials in support of the motion to dismiss that are pertinent to the amendment. The amendment attached to the motion shall be considered part of the record in opposition to the pending motion to dismiss. Okay. I don't know if we'll reply to this or not. I don't remember if we're supposed to or not. Or if I don't know if we do more stuff to reply to his amended things. I'm not sure. Okay, order granting 145 motion for issuance of letters rogatory with attached letters for clerk execution. So okay. Letters rogatory, I think, is when you write is that like just issuing a subpoena or asking somebody to answer questions, I think? So this is for Melina. So this is basically just giving them a permission, I think, to shoot the letter to Sweden, I guess. Although I have no idea. I think we didn't oppose this, if for no other reason, because it's, well, I mean, technically they have the right to depose anybody that they think could be related to this. However, I don't know if Sweden will cooperate or if they have to, and I don't think they have the time to pursue this back and forth. This is really late. The only thing that the only thing I'm worried about for this is as long as they don't get discovery extended, because I feel like they're trying to do whatever they can to like push the discovery stuff out so they can push the court date out so they can just push everything like just to make this last as long as possible. Hopefully not, but this is the letter they want to send. Not to mention she was your wife, so she can just refuse, right? Yes, actually. I believe that communication between married people, I think, is considered privileged, so they don't really have a right to... Was this a big surprise for you and your lawyers or expected? No, it's expected. If somebody's making a request like this, especially if you don't oppose it, there's no real reason for the judge to say no. They just have to be able to show that it's, I think, like in any way related to the case. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about, I just don't want anything to be delayed. Just so we understand, they can't compel Mel to do anything right. They just sent a letter to Swedish court saying, would you be cool if you can help out here? No. Well, it depends on how the Swedish courts work. I don't think Sweden has very broad discovery allowances, though. I think in the United States it's pretty broad. So Sweden could say, fuck you. If she refuses to testify, if she's compelled by a subpoena, then they would have to get an order to compel through the Swedish courts. They would have to get like local counsel in Sweden, I think. It would just be a clusterfuck. It could be that that's their goal. It's hard to imagine, because now I just have to think, like, obviously they don't care about winning the case. They don't care about any of that. So I'm just trying to think of how, because my guess is if Melina and Pxie were talking originally, which I think they were, and now they're not, and now they have to file a subpoena instead of just getting an affidavit or a declaration from Melina, then it's because Melina probably doesn't want anything to do with this. And I can't imagine that she'd be happy that her full fucking name is being smeared all over all of this shit. I don't know why they couldn't file this under seal. Well, I do know. It's because Pxie is a disgusting piece of shit who literally doesn't give a fuck about anybody else involved in this except for herself, which she's proven over and over and over again. Somebody said that, does Melina hate you? Or are you worried about her being spite-driven? I don't know. I have no idea what Melina thinks about me now. But I think that even if Melina did hate me, my feeling is that she just doesn't have anything to do with any of this. She probably just wants to move on and be just done with all of this. So the idea that Pxie's trying to drag her, out there, or I guess they would have to fly there to take her deposition. It was just retarded. It's stupid. Maybe I'm a legal retard, but did they have to prove some relevance for issuing these, in my opinion, overly burdensome subpoenas? Not well. The standard for just issuing them is very, 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 very low. Now the other side could contest it, and then they would have to go back and forth on that. But her address is in there too. Oh well, that's even more cringe. I don't know where it is. I don't really want to. Oh fuck. Just kidding. Not there. Documents or other property to be produced. I don't even know what they would go over. Well, I don't know why I asked that question. They don't care. They're just memeing. Yeah. I wonder how much this costs. Do you still talk to her, Melina? No. The requesting party agrees to pay any reasonable costs incurred in executing this request, including translation and transcription fees. I wonder how much they're paying for this. How long has this lawsuit been going on for? Since January 20th? Is that when they filed? Or was it February 20th? Even if she does testify, isn't there spousal privilege? If she invoked it, yeah. But I mean, if she hates me, she could just say, well, no, fuck you. I'm just going to testify. But the thing is I don't understand. If she was going to do that, then I don't know why they would need to subpoena her, She could just talk to them for free. She doesn't have, a subpoena is to compel somebody because they're not willing to cooperate otherwise, Topics about which plaintiff's counsel seeks to examine witness. Background information on Melina, relationship with me, explicit materials involving plaintiff, possession, receipt, interviewing, communications regarding explicit involving social media activity, knowledge of plaintiff's communication pertaining to issues of consent and privacy. Okay, based. Knowledge of explicit materials involving the witness, communications regarding explicit materials involving the witness for Melina. Okay. And then involving other witnesses. So I guess this would just be... But everybody else, I think, has also explicitly said, like, I could always share stuff with Melina. So I don't even know what this would be related to. I think I think even in the, I don't know what name they filed it under, but in the redacted one with the other person, they even explicitly say that. So documents to be produced by the witness, you and yours shall refer to Mel, her attorney say, action shall mean blah, 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 plaintiff, defendant. Could she get in trouble if she travels to the U.S. and doesn't respond to the subpoena? Nah, it would have to be like a criminal filing or something. Document request, produce all non-privileged communications between you and defendant that refer or relate to plaintiff from January 1st, 2020 through the present. That's going to be hard because I think me and Melina have wiped all of our logs with each other like a year or two ago. Good luck. Produce all communications to which you were a party that refer or relate to plaintiff. Produce all communications to which you were a party that refer or relate to explicit material involving plaintiff. To which you were a party that refer or relate to the leaked material from November 15th, 2024 to the present. Produce all communications to you and defendant related. And the issue of consent and disclosure from January 1st, 2020 through, oh, that's it. Like, I don't even know what the fuck I don't know. Well, good luck. They want to set up the cope spin when Melina doesn't answer and they lose the case. If only she testified. That's going to be done on Twitch. Oh, maybe. People were talking about this on the subreddit. For what? Hold on. Subpoena law in Europe differs from U.S. law, as a foreign subpoena has no automatic legal force. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if she just doesn't respond. But also, I don't know. Who knows? Melina's middle name is Chatterina, which will likely help him at trial. Base, true. Shouldn't some form of marital privilege apply? Yeah, I already said that. Technically, spousal privilege means she could invoke that. Even for an ex? What do you mean, even for an ex? We were married at the time. So the communications are privileged. My communications with my lawyer are privileged. It doesn't matter once I drop my lawyer, once the case is over, that doesn't mean you can then go back and get all those conversations. They were privileged at the time, yeah. Isn't it odd that Jstlk talked about this case every day on a stream, but now that the things aren't swinging Pxie's ways, only had one stream on it the past month? Nope, that's not odd at all. Oh, yeah, these were good copes. Can you review the transcript, please? Why? There seem to be no new facts added to the case. Feel free to lay out any new legal facts you felt it revealed. I think it's incredibly obvious why you stopped, or why all of a sudden you stopped milking your content cow. Isn't it just content for you? You're not retarded. You know you'd get good viewership. Pretty clear there's another reason. I'm not covering it because it's not interesting to me or my live stream audience if it's not moving the case forward. That's an insanely stupid thing to say because her loss on the preliminary injunction was the most that the judge has written so far about the case, and the hearing was concerning the preliminary injunction. So the hearing probably contains the most substance of anything that's been filed because it's me and Pxie talking at length and answering questions under oath. But good memes. And they also constantly talk about me and obsess over me in his Discord too, so. Expediting response to 163 motion protective order and staying depositions upon review of the motion. So after they no-showed deposition, then we filed to say, well, I shouldn't have to go to mine, and what the fuck? Why didn't they show up for theirs? The paperless order expediting response to the motion for protective order and staying depositions. So upon review of our motion, the court finds good cause to expedite a response from plaintiff, meaning I think they need to respond pretty soon. I don't know if what this means for timeline. Oh, it says here. Oh, within 6 days. 7 days from the filing, I guess. The response should address why a timely motion for protective order was not filed when knowledge of a dispute materialized, meaning they knew that they weren't going to be able to show up for the deposition. They knew that their deposition was noticed, filed with the court, and they didn't file anything. So they need to say, so Pxie's lawyers now need to explain, why didn't you file for a protective order on this? Why shouldn't sanctions be applied to you under Rule 37? Or alternatively, why good cause exists nunc pro tunc to excuse plaintiff's non-attendance at her deposition. What the fuck is this? Now for then. Used when a court makes an order of judgment effective as of a past date. It's a way to correct errors or omissions in the record. Okay. Why sanctions should not be entered under Rule 37, or alternatively, why good cause exists now, that I guess to explain back then, to excuse plaintiff's non-attendance at her deposition, including sworn evidence from plaintiff justifying her unavailability. Additionally, the deposition of defendant for me, for today, is stayed, meaning that that's put on hold, pending resolution of this motion. Is there any realistic excuse for them? Like, even if Jane was in a life or death situation, her lawyer should still be, yeah, no, they should be able to. Well, the thing is, it wasn't even that. They knew that. I don't know how they're going to respond to this. And I like the kind of the scary thing for this, in our motion, I think we request payment for this, which would be levied against Pxie or would be levied against her law firm. Because we're asking for, I think, about $10,000 in sanctions here for them basically just, flagrantly violating the rules of the court. Bonnell has incurred attorney's fees and costs in excess of $10,875 in connection with plaintiff's failure to appear for deposition and having to file the instant motion and supporting documents. Bonnell respectfully requests that the court issue sanctions against plaintiff for her misuse of the discovery process. So I don't know how they escape that, but who knows? I don't know how common it is that a judge would just let somebody slide on something like this. I'm not sure. Let's see. Paperless order granting 150 motion for leave to file. What was 150? Plaintiff's motion for to allow them to file the USB sticks for the incredibly important audio in the form of 2 audio files to be submitted conventionally via USB drive. Clerk is accepted. The clerk of court is directed to accept submission of the USB drive and deliver the materials to chambers. Plaintiff's reply to 162 response/reply, 160 notice of 90 days expiring, and supplemental evidence by Jane Doe. Do we know what the audio is about? Yeah, the audio is me on food shop stream. I'm basically talking about how I'm trying to like make this like discovery stuff look presentable, because I think I have the logs that Discord sends you, like when you make a data request, are just, I believe it's just your messages. It doesn't include the other side. And then the logs from that, if I use like Discord chat exporter on a on Discord, then it's just their side, right? If I already deleted all my messages with them. So it was just me like putting them together, but they're trying to make it sound like, as I'm talking about like figuring out how to like mesh these 2 different files so that it's readable, they're trying to make it sound like I'm fabricating evidence. It's fucking retarded. It's just stupid. It's just like desperate attempts to, like, even if they manage to discredit all of my evidence, like, okay, fine, wow, you've discredited all mine, where's yours? They have nothing. So it's just a waste of time on everything. But it's also the reason why they're doing it is because they're getting their arguments from Kiwi Farms, and a lot of the Kiwi Farms people are kind of a little bit tech irrelevant, so they don't, or ignorant, so they don't really know what they're saying either. Plaintiff Jane Doe, by and through undersigned counsel, submits this reply in further support of her notice of Local Rule 7.1b4, expirations and supplemental evidence, in further support of motion for protective order governing public commentary. Oh, this was the gag order that they wanted, but it expired and they didn't get it, so. And in response to defendant's opposition, and respectfully states as follows. Defendant's opposition offers no valid basis to deny plaintiff's notice. What is most striking, however, is not what defendant argues, but what he fails to address. The opposition entirely ignores the serious and substantiated allegations of defendant's ongoing and recent misconduct and his disregard for this court's authority. The court has not ruled on a gag order or anything for me, so I don't know what she's talking about there. Defendant has blatantly violated the court's protective order, ECF number 7, by publicly disclosing the legal name of plaintiff's family member. This plaintiff's family members or anything. I'm not allowed to say to the media what plaintiff's name is. That's it. That's the only thing that's in that initial number 7 protective order. And then stuff that's filed with the court has to be filed under seal. Has Noel commented on this at all outside of the court order issue? Kind of. The problem is the people in my thread have become such cows, and they're so detached from reality that like Noel can't go in there and talk to them because they're retarded. They're like, even if you don't like me, the people in my Kiwis thread are actually fucking retarded. They're on the like an illegal amount of copium. Like it's so bad that I think Noel locked my thread last night because he was so fucking tired of arguing with them, which I don't know how often he does, but. Because every time Noel would post in there, all of my schizos, who it literally might just be blab on 7 accounts, I'm not actually sure, they would just say that Noel is fucking retarded and Noel doesn't know what he's talking about, and his lawyer is an Indian. I don't know where they get this obsessive theory that all my fans are Indians or something. But then I think Noel locked the thread. Calm down time, and now the thread is locked until he's, I don't know. Oh, and then a lot of them are also mad because I think one of the points that Noel was bringing up was Noel was like, if you want the media to take down Destiny, then you can't call him the raped one who deserved to be raped as a child every other post. You understand that this makes you guys look crazy, right? And then, they're always like, oh, so we can't call him a pedophile anymore. Oh, Noel is protecting a bit. So they're just like, oh, yeah, it's just, Rather than confronting his own misconduct, defendant attempts to divert attention through immaterial procedural arguments that lack any merit. Moreover, with complete impunity, and since the filing of the notice, the defendant has doubled down on his public harassment of plaintiff and disclosure of identifying information. The undisputed evidence underscores that a protective order governing defendant's reply or public commentary remains both critical and urgent to prevent further and potentially more severe harm to plaintiff. Demonstrating his complete impunity and utter disregard for the integrity of these proceedings and the court's authority, on November 4th, 2025, the defendant again publicly posted identifying information about plaintiff's spouse. See Declaration of Joan S. Peters, Exhibit A here too. It is more than apparent that defendant's incorrigible behavior, motivated by retaliation and condoned by his counsel, will not stop without the intervention of the court and sanctions. Defendant's assertion that plaintiff's 90-day notice is procedurally improper is without merit. Local Rule 7.1b subsection B4b merely provides that when a motion has been pending for more than 90 days, the movant shall promptly file and serve a notice of that fact. The rule neither sets a rigid deadline nor limits the court's ability to consider supplemental materials related to an unresolved motion. So this is one of the only times where I've read this, and I actually kind of feel bad a little bit for Joan. There is this like very brief gap in time in U.S. medical history where we had the ability to save people with certain types of brain trauma, but we didn't have the ability to cure their ailment such that it didn't leave them with like lasting effects. And the best example of this, there's this guy with is it the 7-second memory guy? So he'll forget things. You can tell him things, and then after about 10 seconds, he forgets what was told to him. This is kind of sad. It's pretty tragic watching this. And I've noticed a lot for Joan that it seems like when she's read about 7 to 10 words, she just forgets what else is in the sentence. I don't know why. So we can look up the local rules for Florida, and we can look up local rule 7.1 B4B. Hearings. With respect to any motion or other matter as to which the court has conducted a hearing but has not entered an order or otherwise determined the motion or matter within 90 days of the hearing, the movant or applicant, whether party or non-party, shall file and serve on all parties and any affected non-parties within 14 days thereafter a notification of 90 days expiring, which shall contain the following information. I don't know how she just can't read, because Andy put this in his papers. So plaintiff's 90-day notice, it has to happen within 14 days of the 90-day expiration. It's literally written in here. I don't know if Joan is perhaps using ChatGPT to go through these things. I would be surprised if ChatGPT wasn't able to read the full sentence, but they're 45 days late on this. So your reply is your what would you call this? Your 90-day notice or whatever is late. Did they do it within 14 days? No, they did it. It was 45 days late. But she's trying to say that oh no, there is no 14-day limit. You're just imagining that. You're imagining the 14-day limit. Defendant's assertion that plaintiff's 90-day notice is procedurally improper is without merit. The local rule merely provides that when a motion has been pending for more than 90 days, the movant shall promptly file and serve a notice of that fact. The rule neither sets a rigid deadline nor limits the court's ability to consider supplemental materials related to an unresolved motion. But it clearly says here that you have 14 days to do it. Or maybe, I wonder if she's quoting from a different part. Maybe I missed it? Hold on. Is there no quote here? If I can't find this quote in the local rules book. Wait, what the fuck? Because that is one thing that ChatGPT does, is it makes up quotes sometimes, or it used to. I don't know if it still does it. Wait, can somebody, where does this quote come from? We're in the Southern District of Florida, right? Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Wait. Maybe I'm wrong. This is the 2020 version. Is there an updated 2024 revised version? Local rules, Southern District of Florida. Red line version, effective December 2nd, 2024. Okay. Effective 20, okay. Maybe the 2024 rules, maybe they're different. Let's check. 7.1 B4B. Any motion in a civil case or any post-conviction motion on a criminal case as to which the court has conducted a hearing but has not entered an order or otherwise determined the motion or matter within 90 days of the hearing, the movant, whether party or non-party, shall file and serve on all parties and any affected non-parties within 14 days thereafter a notice of 90 days expiring. So this also has the 14 days thing. So I don't know where she's getting this, that there is no time limit. I want to know where this quote comes from, though. I feel like sometimes Joan will put in quotes, but there's no source. Is this standard? I feel like generally in legal writings, when you have a quote, it has to be a reference. Who are you quoting here? Are you quoting the local rules? Because I don't see it in the local rules. Search the KF thread. Fuck, I shouldn't have done that on stream. Sometimes they'll delete stuff if they know that they're fucking over Pxie's thing. Check the Florida state rules of civil procedure. There should be a similar rule there that you might be citing incorrectly. Well, it's not going to be like the same, like chapter, like 7.1 or whatever, right? Florida rules of court procedure. I don't see anything. Wait, where the fuck is this quote coming from? Wait, what the fuck? What if Joan isn't even real? What if she's just AI? Did you try copy pasting the quote directly to Google? Yeah, and nothing comes up. But my assumption would be, she didn't like put a citation, but my assumption would be that it comes from the current local rule, the rules of civil procedure, the federal book, because of the 7.1. This is the federal citation for this. But this quote doesn't exist anywhere. So I don't know where the fuck this quote comes from. Actually, yeah, and wait, what the fuck is this quote even doing? The movement shall promptly file and serve a notice of that fact. This is even like a quote that says anything. There's not even any like thing. What would you call it? I don't know what you would call this. Where are my college writers? Like, imagine if I quoted a book. Imagine if I quoted like Mein Kampf, and I was writing something, and the quote and imagine that I'm quoting Hitler, okay? And I said, Hitler believed in creating living space for all Germans that were currently in the world outside of the country of, I don't know, of the country. Like, if I were to put like of the country in quotes here, this is like not, it's like there are things that you could quote that would be relevant to the subject matter of the statement and would be important coming from Hitler. So like, living space for all Germans would be a good thing to quote directly from him, right? Or maybe like in the world outside of the country or the borders of Germany, right? Or maybe like loved the German people. Okay, maybe. But like of the country, well, what does of the country mean? Like what? Like the subject matter here is like, well, does local rule 7.1 subsection B4B, does this allow you to file anytime after 90 days? We don't know, and the only part that they quote, and I don't know where this will come from, is the movement shall promptly file and serve a notice of that fact. I don't know what the fuck that means, and I don't know where it's being quoted from. I don't know. Okay, sorry. I just spent way too long on this. It's fucking retarded. I'm just curious if they are using ChatGPT for their filings now. Because sometimes they put stuff. Where does this come from? Plaintiff's October 30th, 2025 filing complied fully with the rule's purpose to notify the court that her motion for protective order governing public commentary has remained pending for more than 90 days. The rule, though, says it has to be filed within 14 days after the 90 days. I don't know why she's just not reading that. Moreover, defendant's assertion that plaintiff failed to provide Rule 7.1 B4B's requisite information is outright false. See Notice 1, procedural posture with requisite details. The filing was not an improper surreply, but notice of post-briefing conduct. Defendant mischaracterized plaintiff's notice as an unauthorized surreply. Plaintiff did not re-argue a prior briefing. She brought forward new evidence of post-briefing conduct, including defendant's recent online harassment disclosures, plaintiff's spouse's identity, and private imagery that occurred months after briefing closed. Such evidence is inherently outside the scope of the original motion papers and therefore cannot be precluded as an unauthorized surreply. But then wouldn't you just file a new motion instead of just filing a reply to the last one? Would be my guess, but defendant's recent conduct confirms the need for protective relief. Defendant's own counsel's letter concedes the defendant publicly posted the legal name of plaintiff's spouse as well as false, unsupported accusations of green card marriage fraud. That has nothing to do with this case. They want to, it's like the actual like peak of the optics frogs who are like, I want to take you to court over every single thing you tweet. Like, bruh, are you okay? Defendant's disclosure violates both the spirit and letter of the court's protective order. That order prohibits any dissemination of personally identifying information relating to plaintiff or her family. Like, I would argue that there is a world where she's correct on this, but that world is not the same world where plaintiff posts on her own public social media that she's suing me. These worlds are mutually exclusive. Defendant's conduct, independently unmasking a non-party spouse, and what do you mean unmasking? She's a person who has an Instagram account and accounts that are literally in her name. Am I not allowed to talk about Lauren Hayden either? Is that off limits? Jesus. and publicizing her identity and likeness squarely violates that restriction and reignites precisely the harm the protective order sought to prevent. It also reignites... No. You're trying to say that the protective order that the court allows her to proceed under pseudonym is a gag order on me being able to talk about anything for anybody. It also reignites the critical need for the requested protective order governing public commentary. Plaintiff's counsel's declaration further establishes that these disclosures triggered renewed online harassment and doxing directed at plaintiff and her spouse. Defendant's dismissive attitude towards these consequences only underscores the need for judicial intervention. The court is not here to help you with online harassment. That's not the point of this. Defendant's response again relies on the argument that plaintiff's benign and limited public commentary. Some benign and limited? That she called me a fucking manipulator, basically like e-rapist? What? Somehow excuses defendant's egregious conduct. That argument is unsupported and immaterial. There is no evidence the plaintiff has publicly harassed or threatened defendant or his witnesses or violated any protective order. The protective order, ECF number 7, and pending motion for protective order address the party's duty to refrain from targeted, identifying disclosures and from harassing, threatening commentary, not plaintiff's right to seek redress or speak generally about her experience. Like, I'm asking for this, and I know that they can't support this because I'll never do it. It's like, show me a case where a protective order has been filed for somebody to proceed as a Jane Doe who then logs into her public social media accounts to constantly talk about the case. Like, where does this happen? Have you actually broken the protective order terms? No, of course not. But it's like, it's in a weird world because like, it seems like I could be kind of breaking the protective order terms, but that's because she's weaponizing the protective order in bad faith. Generally, if you proceed in a John Doe or Jane Doe case, it's because you don't want your identity to be known to the public because there might be embarrassment, humiliation, there might be a variety of reasons, but you don't want your identity to be known. Pxie is just using it to protect her real name, not her identity. Her identity is already out there in terms of like she's Pxie or Pxie Love. She's on her Instagram. She's on her Twitter. She's on her YouTube. You know what she looks like. She posts videos of herself. And all of that is associated with this court case. She just wants to not have her name out there. That's an abuse of the protective order. This protective order is supposed to protect or shield the identity from public embarrassment, harassment, whatever. But she, on her own social media account, she still has her GoFundMe linked, support for this court case. She just doesn't want her name posted. It's retarded. So it's an abuse of it's not what the protective order is designed for. And you won't find any other cases where somebody uses a protective order like this. It's very, very, very fucking weird. Plaintiff has never disclosed her spouse's legal name or published personal imagery of her spouse. I mean, wasn't it literally on their Instagram? Or I guess you could argue that the defendant didn't post it, but also, isn't that really weird to have in a court filing that I've never in my entire life posted anything publicly of me marrying my spouse? The main point is obviously to stop you talking about it. Yeah, the point is she tried to weaponize the protective order because she thinks that like all of this is hilarious and funny, I guess, to try to use it as like a gag order on me or to get sanctions from me constantly because they have no legitimate case otherwise. Like they posted images of them in the wedding venue and them together in wedding dresses. Pretty sure there was a recent group pic of those two with Lauren because Lauren is driving so much of this, okay? Ask me once this court case is over. You won't believe it. Trust me, you won't. Destiny question. If you aren't allowed to say her name, shouldn't you not be able to identify her identity in other ways? Like if you said this person who is the only daughter of X and Y, that would clearly go against the intent of the order. Wouldn't posting her spouse's name do the same thing? Yes, there's a world where I would agree with you, yes. But the issue is that she's already made her identity and participation in the case known. That's the confounding thing, right? So like, like this is what they're saying basically. Let's say that Pxie joins, or let's say that Pxie starts a PAC, okay? And let's say that Pxie's PAC, she advertises it on her social media. She says, hey guys, here's my new PAC and I'm the head of this PAC and, you know, donate to me and we're going to go fight against whatever. And let's say that her real name is part of the PAC because it's in the filings. And I say, wow, you're literally, and I tweet out, you're fucking suing me for all this bullshit and wasting all my money and all these fees and now you're asking for donations for your PAC. They could file something and go, defendant knowingly publicized that I am part of this PAC and my full real name is easily accessible to anybody. It's like, well, wait, what the fuck? But you're already publicly part of all this. It's like, the reason why it's such a mindfuck is because she's like, nobody that files a Doe case is making a public Substack and then posting on all their social media just using an pseudonym, using a pseudonym or whatever, not even a pseudonym, using an online identifier for who they are. That's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. My expectation would be that you would be bound to follow the order regardless of the idiocy of the plaintiff. Well, sure, but I mean, like, by the order itself, I'm not violating anything. I can't release the plaintiff's name to the media, and I can't release the plaintiff's name to the media, and I can't file anything with the court that's not under seal that exposes like personal information that comes out relating to the case. Wait, hold on. The court did grant her protection order after already reviewing the facts you have given about Doe posting. Are you talking about the item docket 7? The docket 7 item is like the super standard protective order that's basically always granted in CARDI cases to go forward. It's baked into the federal statute that you have the right to proceed as a Jane Doe. Like, it's basically always going to be granted. But once you start making public commentary of all of this, public commentary of which the judge has cited as harming her preliminary injunction, then it gets very weird in terms of how the protective order should be enforced. Wouldn't it be more that she doesn't want her name to be associated with the case, but doesn't mind being public otherwise? Yeah, but that's called an abuse of a protective order. You're not supposed to... Or wait. The only way that would make sense is if she didn't publicize it on her social medias. She publicized the case and everything on her own socials. So it's like, yeah. Plaintiff's filing is procedurally proper, substantively relevant, and essential to a complete record on the pending motion protective order. Defendant's opposition seeks only to strike its own continuous... Okay, this is just for that. And all of this is public stuff anyway, too. It's not like I'm exposing something. I'm just linking stuff that's like all publicly available. Like all of it is like they posted photos on her Instagram where her full name was posted, her spouse or whatever, of them getting married. Like this, I mean, like I'm just literally not allowed. No, that's ridiculous. Stop. Cringe. Joan. Was she tagged in any of them? She was initially, but then she untagged it later on. After we filed our thing, I think, because it looked bad. I'm an attorney committed to practicing Pxie and the above caption action. I'm submitting this statement. I'm going to post a on Discord. A link to a court filing in an unrelated matter that contains the legal name of plaintiff's spouse. Posted on Discord? Did I post on Discord? Is she talking about my chat? To a court filing in an unrelated matter that contains the legal name of plaintiff's spouse and defendant once again identified as plaintiff's spouse. There's nothing in this court filing that in and of itself would connect it to plaintiff. But for defendant's posting of it and announcing that it pertains to plaintiff's spouse, this was not public knowledge. A marriage? It's a matter of public record? A marriage is not public knowledge? And they posted it on their... Fuck, why do I not have this? Where did I post it? It was literally... Fuck, where there are screenshots of them. They posted this on their fucking... Instagram. What? It might still be on her Instagram. Like it's on her Instagram. She's literally posted this. This is a wedding venue, and marriage licenses are the marriage is public. Indeed, his post admits that plaintiff and her spouse don't talk about it in any of their social medias. I personally view defendant's post on Discord, and this is an accurate reflection of the post and its content. Okay, good one. They don't have to talk about it much for it to still be posted on their... It's literally on their Instagram. Good memes. Absolutely based memes. Okay. I think they filed it wrong. Look at 172. Yeah, apparently they fucked it up. But they do that every now and then. And I'm sure they'll remedy it.
So the thing I keep thinking about is, was it worth it to be happy for a little bit? Even though it ended up sad? Or would it have been better if the whole thing never happened?